Okay, welcome back to members of 121 Community Church in Grapevine, Texas, and our ongoing study in the Gospel of Mark and the doctrine of noesis. It's a joint study. We're looking at the Gospel of Mark and the doctrine of noesis. We're going to look at 15 verses 16 through 23, and we're going to look at a sin that goes on very much today as well. We're going to take a look at the sin of the mockery of transcendence. We're going to look at the soldiers who mocked Christ and thereby mocked the reality of genuine transcendence. And today in our society, Christianity is mocked. Any idea of transcendence or miracle or spiritual world is mocked. And by intelligent people as well, by scholars. I think of the ex-Christian Bart Ehrman, who went through a Princeton Theological Seminary, who went from radical fundamentalism to radical liberalism, and now is a radical materialist. He believes in materialism to a very, very radical degree, and he has publicly declared that he is an agnostic. He is not a Christian. And what I don't like is he teaches agnosticism. It's not just that Bart Ehrman does not believe. He feels obligated to teach the agnostic materialism that he holds to, and he's been involved in many debates. He's been involved in many debates over the scriptures. And so the sin is very much alive, the sin of the mockery of divine transcendence. Let's go to block 1 and take a look at the text, and we'll get started here. The soldiers led Jesus away into the palace, that is the praetorium, and called together the whole company of soldiers. They put a purple robe on him, then twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on him. And they began to call out to him, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Again and again they struck him on the head with a staff and spit on him. Falling on their knees, they paid homage to him. And when they had mocked him, they took off the purple robe and put on his own clothes. Then they led him out to crucify him. A certain man from Cyrene, Simon, the father of Alexander and Rufus, was passing by on his way in from the country, and they forced him to carry the cross. They brought Jesus to a place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. Then they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. He did not take it. All right, here you go. This is a narrative. The entire narrative is about mocking Christ and mocking Christ and mocking the idea of divine transcendence, but focusing that mockery on the person of Christ. And like I said, today we have a worldwide recognized scholar, Bart Ehrman, at the University of North Carolina, who had graduated from Princeton Theological Seminary, who has publicly declared that he is no longer a Christian, that he is now an agnostic/atheist. And like I said, that can be his position, but what bothers me is he teaches this position. He teaches agnostic materialism. So this sin of the mockery of transcendence is very much alive today. Let's go to block 2 and take a look at commentary. We'll begin with Ruckman. all is mockery here for the soldiers. But transcendence says, now is the accepted time, behold, now is the day of salvation. 2 Corinthians 6:2. And we read in the Greek, kairo, dekta, divinely appointed time. Remember, kairos time is divinely appointed time. The Sanhedrin call for Christ's crucifixion because he made himself the Son of God, John 19:7. And that really shakes up Pilate. And Pilate actually becomes troubled and suspects that maybe Jesus is not of this world, as he said. And we go to John 19:9, and Pilate asks, where are you from? Pilate got very disturbed when he heard that Christ had told the Sanhedrin that he was the Son of God. Let's take a look at Edwards. A part of the prediction of Christ's passion included the prediction of the aspect of mockery. See Mark 10:3. Empaidzo, to mock, is used there. It was Jesus' divine status and his transcendence that was mocked. Mark emphasizes the scorn of the soldiers toward Christ. Mockery then transitions to violence against Christ. Christ is revealed as Isaiah's suffering servant. Absolutely, he is revealed as the suffering servant of Isaiah. But the sin being emphasized here by Mark is the sin of the mockery of transcendence. And looking at transcendence, we're going to take a look at the doctrine of noesis again, because the doctrine of noesis is what? The doctrine of spiritual consciousness, because the doctrine of noesis does believe in transcendence. It does believe in a realm of spirit because it believes in spiritual self-consciousness. That's what noesis is. So if you look at block 2 and go to note 3, I'm looking at an author by the name of Olson in a book entitled Hegel and the Spirit from Princeton University Press. There you go, Bart Ehrman, Princeton Theological Seminary. Now here's something from Princeton University Press, 1992. And we're going to look at 6 aspects of transcendence within the experience of noesis, or spiritual consciousness. The dialectical process of the spiritual consciousness goes beyond the mere finite image. Through noetic reduction, which consists of sublation or negation, preservation of the eternal, and the lifting up of creation into reunification with the Father. Lifting up the real out of that which we have negated. The Enlightenment deformed into postmodern reality, and postmodern reality has deconstructed transcendence entirely out of existence. It is in our postmodern culture, postmodern culture denies transcendence, denies a realm of spirit, denies the idea of a living God. Therefore, our task is to reclaim that transcendence. The metaphysical potential of noesis depends on our genuine experience of spirit within this realm of positing. Remember, the realm of positing for Hegel is the realm of spirit. It is the realm of the unfolding of absolute spirit. And it is a realm of positing and return moment. We posit, then we return inwardly to reshape our convictions. And it's in this environment of the realm of positing that Hegel calls the realm of spirit. And for Hegel, it is a realm of transcendence. There is such a thing as objective transcendence, and there is such a thing as subjective transcendence. But Hegel, rather than emphasize the subjective side or the objective side, Hegel chooses to emphasize the hinge point that swings between subjectivity and objectivity. It is where we posit our worldview, our spiritual worldview, and so it is subjective, but it's about the external world, so it's an internal externality. It's a hinge moment. It swings between the subjective and the objective. And Hegel called this the realm of positing. And it is the realm of spiritual transcendence. The metaphysical potential of noesis depends on our very genuine experience and our very genuine testimony to the spirit within the realm of positing. As believers, we affirm this realm of spirit that does exist. It must be perceived through noesis, spiritual consciousness. It must be understood only through spiritual self-consciousness. And once you enter into that reality, you are opened up to an entirely new world. Surface reality is not the real. Radical materialism is not the real. Radical materialism has behind it a foundational and fundamental realm of noetic spirit. And it is a realm of genuine, objective transcendence that is reflected within the individual in a subjective transcendence of a noetic self-consciousness, which is being taught by Christ in part 2 of the Gospel of Mark as a doctrine of noesis. That's what we have been studying here in the second half of the Gospel of Mark, is a doctrine of noesis. Let's go on to block 3, and let's take a look at John 19:9. And he, Pilate, went into the praetorium again, and says to Jesus, "Where are you from?" But Jesus did not give an answer to him. A judged answer was not given to him. What happens in the Gospel of John, that narrative overlaps with this narrative in Mark, but what we learn from the narrative in the Gospel of John is that Pilate becomes disturbed. The Sanhedrin tell Pilate that Christ claims to be the Son of God, the Holy One of God. He claims transcendence for himself. He claims transcendent being for himself. And Christ has already told Pilate, "My kingdom is not of this world." And this is a verse of real, genuine, existential disturbance. John 19:9, Pontius Pilate, corrupt and evil as he was, he gets shook. He gets existentially troubled over what the Sanhedrin have told him. And he knows where Jesus is from. He's from Nazareth. But what he asks, he says, "Where are you from? Where are you truly from?" Because now he's thrown into this self-doubt, this self-questioning. And if you are not of this world, what world are you of? And you can see this entire narrative is about transcendence and the mockery of transcendence. This narrative is about transcendence, divine transcendence, and the mockery of divine transcendence. As believers, we affirm the reality of divine transcendence, and we affirm that reality as a realm of spirit. Hegel called it a realm of absolute spirit. That was the term he preferred. And he termed faith he gave faith the term of pure consciousness. So for Hegel, we participate in the realm of absolute spirit through the practice of pure consciousness, which is an anticipatory type of pure consciousness, which the scriptures call faith. Hegel just gave it a different name, but he called faith pure consciousness, and he called the realm of spirit the realm of the absolute spirit. And in the realm of absolute spirit, for Hegel, the individual passes through sense certainty and then moves on to perception, and then from perception moves on to understanding, and then from understanding moves on to self-consciousness, and in self-consciousness moves on to making self-consciousness concrete as art, religion, and philosophy. But the individual passes through all four stages. We begin in sense certainty. We move on to perception when we start seeking to define the categories for the kingdom of God. Then we move on to understanding when we also grasp the relational form that interrelates all of those categories. Then we move into the realm of self-consciousness, where we posit our worldview as a system of signs and enter into that dialectic of positing and return, positing and return. And then we make that reality concrete through art, through religion, and through philosophy itself. But none of that can happen unless there is a realm of transcendence. Hegel says there is a realm of transcendence. I say there is a realm of transcendence. And as believers, we affirm this realm of transcendence, divine transcendence. But one of the greatest sins in our culture today is this mockery of transcendence, mocking the Christian religion, mocking divine transcendence as a reality. And we have to reclaim and reaffirm that divine transcendence is a reality. That's going to wrap up 15, 16 through 23, and next time we go 24 through 37. 24 through 37 next lesson.